Hey all, we're here with Gary Mater from I Hate God. Gary, I want to first say thanks. I really appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday to hang out and chat with me for a bit.
My pleasure, man. It's good to be here.
Hell yeah. So I think you are not originally with I Hate God. You didn't come on till what, 2002?
Yeah, roughly 2002. Like I played like I think we played a couple of shows locally, like at the end of 2001. But I mean, really, it's the end of the year. So I always say 2002 because that was my first tour with Aika was in 2002. My first tour with them was in Japan.
Oh shit.
So yeah, so we went from a New Orleans local show, and then the next time I was on a stage, it was in Tokyo in front of a
That's
whole shitload of people.
that's fucking cool. What was that
Yeah, it was
what was that Japanese experience like for you?
it blew my mind because at that time, I mean, I'd done like some regional touring with some other bands, but nothing like no real tours, So the going out of the country in itself was an eye opener. It was amazing. Like I've never had an experience like that before. And then having gone to like all these places now, you know, in the grand perspective of things, going to Japan is one of the most like it's one of the most interesting places to go and play outside of the U.S. So yeah, I had a blast, man. It made me excited for the rest of what I'd be doing in this band for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll say I came on to I Hate God and had to be like 96 or 97. And
Hmm.
uh there was another band. I actually got turned on to I Hate God because of this band out of New Orleans called Novak. And they were
Oh,
that I don't think they ever really did anything, but I ran into them at a show in Nashville and they were like, "Oh yeah, I hate God." And I was like, "Cool." Figured it out. And I think you make a really good addition to the band. And I know we're 22 years later,
I'm the
but
new guy.
yeah, you're still the new guy. But
That's cool. I'll take it.
yeah, I think you're still a really good addition to the band.
Oh, thank you.
I saw you last time I saw you guys was at Portal here in Louisville, and
Hmm.
you fucking crushed it. I was just like, yes.
I do love this band, so thank you. I do like care about like how I contribute to what we have going on.
Hell yeah. So, are you guys working on new material right now?
Yeah, that's kind of the main focus of this year is to get some new things going because well, it's just about that time anyway, to have something fresh to play. It's been a few years since I mean it's been 3 years since our last record now, it kind of went by fast.
Yeah.
But we kind of put the brakes on touring excessively this year so that we have time to be home and put together some new music, because last year I mean, for the last 5 months of the year, we were on the road, and so by the end of it, you're ready to go hang out with your family and things at home, all your friends and what have you. But yeah, so this year we just have like a few things. Like we have a European tour coming up in a month, and then after that we have a short one in Australia, and then we do the Lamb of God boat cruise. And I think yeah, it's gonna rule. I've never done a cruise ship before, so
Me
pretty
neither. And
stoked.
I'm with you. I'm super stoked because like there's you guys and Corrosion and Napalm Death and Death Clock. Like it's a really good fucking bill.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick, man. I'm really excited about that, man. But kind of something, we've done all kind of cool stuff, so but we've never done like a cruise. It's going to the Dominican Republic nonetheless,
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a really cool fucking cool run. Or a cool experience, I think, for everyone, right? Because there's gonna be there'll probably be a lot of first timers to cruises going and to be able to see, all the bands, play a set on the way there and a set on the way back will be fucking I can't tell you how excited I am for that shit.
Yeah, we're gonna throw down, man.
Hell yeah.
Go overboard.
Yeah. They fucking
Literally,
had a dude fall off go overboard this last year.
that's what I heard. It was like, I think it was like right when it first it was like the first day or something
No,
crazy like that
I think it was on their way home.
on their way home.
Yeah, he what did they I think the story I read said 3:30 in the morning the guy fell overboard. I'm like, fuck that, dude. Like,
It's it's human nature, I guess, for us to do things like this.
yeah, yeah, we're kind of fucked up. What
Yeah,
can
we are. But
yeah,
I don't think that's it probably happens often on cruises, I would think. I mean, I don't know if it sucked that if it was if it was for the Lamb of God thing, but I don't think it's a big deal. Like I don't think it's gonna we'll be all right this year. I'll just say that.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. We'll have all the madness on the boat, not off.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll be all right.
For sure. So that Australian run you guys are doing with good old Goat Whore.
Yeah, we're stoked about that too, because um we had done a couple of tours with them last year in the US, and it was awesome. It was so cool to tour with friends, like these are like people we've been known for like 30 years or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's a different kind of tour when you're touring with a bunch of your friends, and it just kind of makes the experience fun or more fun, than not that we haven't toured with some really cool bands. We've toured with some fucking people that I'm still friends with, from my first tours.
Yeah.
But there's something different about touring about your homies, like from your area. So yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. That's why we kind of pushed for it, like for this, and we have a tour in the UK for December that they're coming out with us for, and we also pushed for them to come along for that as well. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited about those tours.
Yeah, I really wanted to catch the Goat Whore EHG tour. I think you guys hit Indianapolis or something, and Goat Whore played the night before here. And of course, I went to see Goat Whore, which I'll tell you a funny story about them in just a second. Um,
Mhm.
but I went the night before to see them here, and for, I don't remember what the reason was, but I had something going on the night you guys were all in Indy, and I was like, son of a bitch. So
Yeah.
my wife is a hippie, like Grateful Dead, Dave Matthews, that kind of shit. We
Hmm.
um we went to go see Goat Whore, Battle Cross, Convalescence, and some other bands at a thing in Michigan, and we're buddies with the Battle Cross guys, so of course we always go support them. And Goat Whore's headlining, so it's the end of the night. Everyone's drunk. I grab my wife and we go right up to the rail on TA side of stage, and we watch the set. And again, right, my wife's a hippie. They get done, they get off stage. She looks at me, she goes, "Oh my God, they were so fucking good." And I was like, "Hell yeah, they were."
Transcend genres, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, good. It's good music, right?
it is. Well, and the other side of that is like the band themselves put on a really good show, to get it's like you guys, right? Get the crowd interacting. And that's I think regardless of what kind of music it is, when you have someone who can pull the crowd in and get you going, it works great. It pulls in a whole new bunch of fans.
Nah, definitely, man. I think that's essential for shows. Like you make everybody feel welcome. Because I mean, we get a pretty diverse group of people at our shows. Always have, but it's because we like to include everybody in the party.
Yeah.
It's kind of the atmosphere that we like to set. We like to create an atmosphere of having a good time, and not with any kind of pretensions. Just kind of everybody have fun. Regardless of whether you like us or not. You can hate us, you know.
Just
But
to
you'll
have a
still
good
have
time.
fun.
Yeah,
You could at least make fun of us if you don't like the music, you know.
right. Yeah, just keep
We'll give
talking
you
about
that.
us, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't waste your $20, you know, like, you know, at least heckle us or do something, you know, that entertains you.
Yeah. Well, if they come to the show, I'm sure they're entertained,
Yeah.
however that happens.
And I guess even if they do like us, they'll heckle us too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, but yeah, hecklers are, I don't know. They're fun, whatever.
Yeah,
So,
we need them.
yeah. Well, yeah, we need all kinds of different people showing up at shows, like keep it keep the energy interesting.
Right,
So
for sure.
how many songs do you guys have set for your next album?
We don't have like it's the way that we put things together is like we'll get together like you know all year, and our friend Steve comes up and records us every time we have rehearsal, and it's I mean we do have like you know like people come in with riffs or whatever, but most of what we do is just get together and jam, you know a couple of times a week, and you know without you know some kind of course an inclination towards writing something new, but it's something that kind of like the riffs kind of form themselves as we kind of just hang out and jam, you know. And so our friend has everything recorded, like all the minuscule jams, everything that you know comes across as a riff. And then once we get enough of that going, then we start to put everything together. And we're kind of at the point now, like where we had just started getting together, like maybe like a month ago. You know, we took a little break from jamming for a second with the holidays, and then really just to kind of regroup individually. You know, like kind of um, I guess get reacquainted with life. And
Yeah,
then now that that's done, now we're able to like move on. We've been getting together to you know to get started on this thing. But at this point, we're just kind of throwing around riffs. You know, we got a few excellent pieces. You know, but it's still a long ways to go. Like we still have to put it all together. But we don't like operate under like a under time constraints. Like you know, you're supposed to um like some bands feel like there's a necessity of putting a new record out every year or whatever. But we just want it to be good. So we just whenever it's ready, it's ready. But this year, I think we'll get some significant work done because I mean almost more than half of the year we're not even touring. So
right.
it's exactly how we wanted it to be. So we'll have time to get it done.
Yeah, so I like the way that you guys do the music, right? You pay for all the production and recording and all that, and then you license it out to labels, so you still own, right, everything, which is a really smart and fantastic way to do it.
Totally, man. It kind of I remember getting that notion from Cash Money Records because they
Mhm.
did the same thing. Like they kind of they had the like was it Universal or whatever had them you know, like do the same thing, license all their music, you know. And it just kind of it just makes sense to do it that way because it you know you retain ownership and I mean, honestly, it's just been a lot less of a headache wondering if there was something in a contract that says, you know, that this label owns your music perpetually.
Yeah,
You know, because there's a lot of crafty ways of including that kind of information. You know, it's where the band gets dumbfounded by it, and you rewrite over it, and then you know, 5 years later, 10 years later, you decide you want to re-release something that the label's forgotten about, but they still own it. You know, but that doesn't happen like the way we're doing it this way. You know, it seems to be fair for everybody to do it this way, including the label, because we're giving them what we consider our best. And I think labels are useful for like for distribution and advertising and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot that the band's significant for too, you
oh
know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I think sometimes labels like to try to convince you that, they're going to do some magic trick for you. But I don't know that. I think we've found out that the way we're doing it right now is kind of like it's the right way for us
I think,
because we like that.
go ahead. Sorry.
We just like to have as much control over over the business aspect, the creative aspect, all of it. Like that's kind of something that we cherish, So doing it this way, we're certain to not be fucked over.
Yeah. So I think it's always what talking to younger bands. It's what I've always said is like do it yourself. If you can afford to do it yourself, and then let everyone come to you because you can have whatever you want. You keep creative control. You own all the publishing, all of that. Like labels love to buy into that because it's something that they don't have to do anything for and they get a return on. Well, shit,
Right.
the band made the music, like keep it, it's yours. Like it's your intellectual property.
Yeah, and that's not really like before, you'd be giving away like merchandise rights, you're publishing all these things that I mean, I could say honestly that before I was in this band, all these things that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But when you start to realize they're like it's yours, and why are they getting like 50/50 on publishing and money for licensing, 80% of your licensing money, it just all don't make sense. It's like, well, why y'all taking that? But I guess up until recently, I say recently, but up like the self-titled record was the first record we did that for. Um, it was something we kind of overlooked, and then when we started to learn more about the business, it made us more keen to do it this way, because we realized like how much we were losing, just like on like for like we have a couple of releases that we own entirely. And so one thing that you're not even getting into is the digital royalties. So like on top of the physical sales that they're making, the digital royalties are pretty significant as well. And so if you keep those, if you have something that you own, um, it's definitely financially worth it to distribute it on your own if you can, because it's got a little chunk of money. So like all these little things that they have included in their contracts are add up to a decent amount of money, that should go to the band, and that's why we are where we are now.
Hell yeah. Well, I think, I hope I hope a lot of bands out there take a page out of that book from you guys because it's, um, I'm, I'm not anti-label, but I'm absolutely pro band, right? Like if the band can make money and be diverse in getting their, digital and publishing and merchandising and get all that money coming to them, it's going to entice them to keep making music and like I'm here for it. I'm that fucking nerd that's like, oh, there's no show here tonight. Okay, I'll drive 5 hours and go see who's playing, or whatever.
Right
Um,
on.
because it's I don't know, it's just what keeps my world moving forward.
Not for sure, man. Us too.
Hell yeah. So were prior to you joining the band, were you friends with them?
Yeah, actually, when I was about, I'm trying to remember how old I was. I was in high school still. It might have been, I guess I was like 16 or 17. I was doing all ages shows at like the local like American Legion Hall kind of thing, like VFW halls, because all the bands that we loved played at clubs, like 18 plus clubs. So we just started our own little scene. But it was around the same time that I Hate God formed. So, back in my, I mean, I wouldn't even say I was a promoter, but I did shows. I've got, all of our friends that were young had bands. And so we started to create a little scene. But there was always a scene that was a little bit older than us. That was like, the Graveyard Rodeo and Shell Shock and Exhorder and all them cats, which is where I Hate God came from. So, um, they were a little bit older than us, but we still like everybody in New Orleans was kind of friends back then. Even like like I was friends with Mike and Jimmy and the whole band really before I was in the band just from being at shows together, or and then finally booking them at one of the I booked them at one of the Lions halls, and I couldn't have their actual name on the flyer. I had to put the Nice Guys or something really completely stupid because the VFW scene here had this thing against Eyehategod. They had Eyehategod was like on TV and everything because we weren't on TV. The guys that ran the VFW hall were on TV talking about, man, these guys are have stage banner that even sailors don't use. Like saying like how horrible we were. Or at that time I wasn't in the band, how horrible they were. With the
Yeah.
you know, it was like an abrasive show, but it wasn't. It was all in fun. It
Yeah.
just kind of got it taken out of context. Um, but yeah, so as far back as then, that's when I was introduced to the band at the very beginning, and at the very beginning, I even thought um, it was a fucking great band. I loved the like the it seemed like a natural chaos, that when they played, like the feedback and everything, and the noise and everything, all the aspects about it that weren't present in and any of the other bands at the time were all the things that like drew me towards them. Like I'd go see them, like me and it started like me and like 20 or 30 people would go see them play, and then eventually people started to see there was something different from the city, that wasn't all the thrash and the hardcore that we were all familiar with. It was something. This was something like something new, and I think it was partially inspired by the existence of the Melvins. I think I remember that having like a significant input or it's a significant effect on shaping the way that music in our scene turned out. Um, it was definitely something that was cool and new. That there was it had like the intent or the like the rawness of like punk rock and also the it came from the same place. We were all as a hardcore scene, and
Hmm.
so even back then, like to me, it was just like a noisy form of hardcore, a noisy, slow form of hardcore,
Yeah.
and that's just something that I dug big time, because it was a lot of there's a lot of good bands back then. There's like Graveyard Rodeo is one of the best, and Exhorder too, was like heavily influential to all of us, but this was the next step for New Orleans, I guess, was
Yeah.
something deconstructed and
Fancy
and
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 more.
artsy.
Say it again.
Fancy and artsy. Deconstructed.
Yeah, I don't know how much like how artsy it was, because like I said, it wasn't not too many people were like keen on it at first, like even like some of the metalheads couldn't stand it because it was like, it wasn't fucking tight riffs and whatever,
Right. Yeah, but that's the beauty of art, right? Like there everyone's going to interpret it how they want, and there's a lot of art out there that like all these people are going to love and all these people are going to hate. Like
Not
fuck
for
it,
sure. Yeah, you
and
can't please everybody,
that's the truth.
and you
But
and you and you shouldn't either.
right. And so like Eyehategod, I think this year is 36 years as a band because I think it started in 88, so
Yeah,
that
it's a
that
stretch.
that's a long fucking time. I mean, shit, you've been in the band now for 22 years. Jeez.
It blows my mind, dude. It really does because it went by so fast. Like I can remember everything. I mean, there's a lot I forget, but in general, I remember like the whole journey, and it doesn't seem like it's been 22 years for sure.
Yeah. That's it's cool as shit. And to be able to do that, and I I take you guys, I take the group as a whole as you guys are a family, so being out on the road
Absolutely.
with your family is God, it's fantastic to have someone to share those experiences with.
No, it is really super cool, man. And we are a family. It's I think that's what keeps us together is we fucking love each other, man. We're a bunch of brothers. So I think that has a lot to do with us being together for 36 years, even though it's been like different people, along the way, um, it's has a family vibe regardless of if there's different people,
Right.
because even the different people were friends of ours before as well.
Yeah.
So like Aaron, like Aaron was in Mountain the Wizard, and we all jam up at this place called Fountain Blue, where all the bands are at. So it's all like the same little circle of friends, you know, that become a part of this band along the way. Same with me. I was in some other bands before, and they were part of the same scene, and then I got asked to play with them. So it's like that. We stick to people from Louisiana and New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, so like you had mentioned Exorder. I love Exorder too. I feel like
Hmm.
they are more popular now than they've ever been, which is I think it's great for any band, you know. I'm not sure how this recent album first week of sales went, but I saw it. I feel like all over the place.
Dude, Kyle is one of the hardest working dudes that we have around here. Yeah, I mean, he's like kind of, because you're right, like they weren't that popular early on, um, and when they started to jam again, it was awesome. It was cool to see them back in the saddle. Um, but now it's just Kyle, like Vinny's no longer with him, and Chris, I don't know, it's been forever since Chris has played with him, but it's kind of Kyle, and then all the people that he's jamming with are new people. But he's such a musical dude. Like he's so about his music
Yeah.
that I think that's why you do see a lot more of them now because he is like 100% behind his what he does. If he loses a guitar player, dude picks up a guitar and starts singing while he's
Yeah.
playing all that shit. That blew my mind because I've never. I mean, if you've watched Exhorder, it's not simple music,
Right. Yeah,
and
it's
and so I thought it was admirable for him to pick up the guitar and do vocals over that too, man.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
Like that,
he's
you know,
super
it
dedicated.
he is, and it shows in the music. Like I'm excited. I think this new album sounds really good. I'm excited to get my vinyl. I just got a freaking record player broke like a month ago, so I had to order one. It came in, and when you logged on, I was actually sitting here listening to some vinyl because it's been a minute. I'm like, I can't wait for the new X Order album to fucking get here so I can jam that on there.
Yeah, it's great, man. I kind of listened to a little bit of it online, like on Spotify or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's pretty good, man. It's got some bite to it, man.
So what other bands that are you listening to currently that you think people should take a listen to?
Oh, um, what am I listening to now? I've been listening to a lot of I mean, I say newer hardcore bands, but I mean, it's been around for a second. There's been a lot of like cool shows in New Orleans, like kind of like punk crusty shows, and I'm trying to think of some of the bands I've seen. I've seen recently Physique were fucking excellent, dude. They're like crusty punk band, but super brutal shit, man. And they have like that 80s hardcore
Okay.
uh vibe to it, no singing and shit. I'm kind of oh, I'm not gonna say anything. Uh and then I'm just happy what's happening with hardcore now. It just sounds like something that I grew up with, versus like some of what other stuff that comes is described as hardcore, just different.
Yep.
But so Physique's really good. I just saw Protocol. They were excellent as well. Fashion Change. I think they're from Seattle. Um, there's just a bunch of hardcore that Mike's turned me on to a lot of the newer stuff. Electric Chair, Quarantine. My memory's terrible just right off the bat. But those are the bands that I are heavy in my rotation. And Chromosome. I've been getting into like old Japanese hardcore, or not hardcore, noise stuff too, man. I found
Okay.
like the singer from the Boredoms had a band that was before the Boredoms where it's I think it's what inspired Mike Patton's like vocal album, like where he made all the noises with his mouth, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But some of the old Japanese like noise shit's fucking. I love all that kind of stuff. Masana, I've been jamming like the harsh electronics, dude.
Okay.
I just love. I like some noise. I can fucking listen to noise just like people listen to jazz, I guess. But I listen to jazz too. You know, I've been jamming on. I'm always jamming on like Miles Davis and like Thelonious Monk is one of my favorites.
Mm.
Um,
John Coltrane for me.
oh yeah, Coltrane. I mean, that's gold. I mean, there wouldn't be. I don't think there'd be Black Flag without Coltrane.
I absolutely agree. Like that's, you know, and looking at a lot of the old jazz, like I'm not super familiar with noise. I know a little bit of it, but like looking at a lot of the old jazz, like God, I probably spent a decade where that's all I fucking listened to. My dad's like, "Really? You're listening to that?" Like, yeah,
It happens.
yeah,
No, I dig all that, man. I think there's no music I don't listen to. I like country shit, you know, like the old R&B stuff, like Earl King from here, from New Orleans, Fats Domino is kind of like a standard, you know.
yep,
Same thing with Louis Armstrong, you know, it's kind of like, you know, kind of stuff everybody kind of knows, you know. Um, that's all the kind of stuff I jam on. All kind of like, you know, some days I'll feel like listening to the Ramones. I know it sounds kind of like, you know, commonplace, but yeah, I like the fucking Ramones or Dead Boys, you know, fucking David Bowie. I got into some David Bowie recently. But I've been jamming a lot of hardcore and uh and Sabbath lately.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I've been stuck on. You remember the past lives thing? I mean, I
mm,
think it was like something beforehand, but it's like this like a double CD live performance or it's a bunch of different live performances. But yeah, I've been jamming on that because it just the energy of those shows that you could hear
yeah,
is inspiring.
yeah. So I just, of course, growing up, right? Sabbath was commonplace, still is, right? Like those riffs, the songs are absolutely timeless. You could, if they were on the radio today, people would have no idea that they were written back, 40, 50 years ago, you know?
Nah, it is timeless music.
I just read an article that Ozzy, guess this bummed me out, lets me know we're getting old. Ozzy's like, I really want to play a show, but I can't even stand up right now. Like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be sad when Ozzy's not able to. Well, I mean, he can't perform anymore. You know,
Right.
I'm just thankful that I've seen him at least a couple of times.
Yeah, me too. And that caught that Sabbath tour on the end, which was, God, they sounded so fucking good. And I feel like Ozzy was like top of his game that night.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one thing, dude. Is he might have a teleprompter and all these things. You know, like people talk about him. You know, like the dude isn't like fucking hasn't done like a million fucking shows. You know,
Right.
it's cool that he still has the intent to want to keep going. You know, some people just kind of fade out and you don't hear about him again. But he's a fighter, man. He's all about about what his life legacy of playing music. You know, so
For sure.
it's cool.
Didn't matter
It,
how much he drank or how many drugs he was on stage that night playing.
yeah, and that's a good it's a good work ethic to have. You know, other level another level of dedication. You know, like
Right.
definitely something that's beyond.
Well, and I think that's a large part of why he's got the status that he's at, because it didn't matter. It was, God, he's 50, 60. I don't even know when did he start playing music? It was mid or late 60s. So we're almost 60 years of playing music. When you do that day in and day out, it's hard to, step away. I mean, shit. Look at you. I bet you couldn't step away from a band and be like, okay, I'm completely done, even at this point.
Oh no, no, absolutely not. Because at this point, your band it becomes your life. I mean, that's what I do. Like I get up, I do some of our business or whatever, and I pick up my guitar and try to come up with some cool riffs or go over some old stuff that we're gonna try to run for these next tours coming up. Um, I'm always doing like artwork, like because I just enjoy all of it, man. You know, um, oh man, my can you hear me right now?
Yeah. So is there is there a show or a tour that you guys did that really stands out to you as like these memories were just a really fucking killer time?
Ooh, it's hard to say, man, because we've done tours with so many of our favorite bands. Like, I think one of the ones that stands out for me is the tour with the Cro-Mags. Because we were touring with it was John Joseph and Craig Ahead
Hmm.
and AJ from Leeway and Mackie. So I mean, as somebody that grew up listening to the Cro-Mags and some of the other New York hardcore, that tour was fucking that was some of the most amazing shit I've ever seen. Just watching Mackie play by himself. I mean, the whole band's amazing, but you could watch each one of them play and and just be smoked every night. Like, holy shit, that was fucking badass. But that was the one that stands out as probably my favorite, I think. But then we've also toured like Negative Approach. We've toured with the Accused, like the Accused AD, which I mean, like the Accused was a huge part of my musical upbringing.
Yeah.
Um, Anti-Scene, like they're fun. I mean, along with being like a fan of their music, it's like our southern, another band from the South, that we've become friends with, the Obsessed. We all love the Obsessed, like every single one of us.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a fun tour. Um,
That new Obsessed album is fucking good too. Gilded Sorrow.
Hell yeah, dude. We just seen them over. They just played in New Orleans a couple of nights ago. It's fucking awesome,
Yeah,
man.
that's so Jason, I think, used the Bauer Power pedal that night, said it was really fucking cool.
Yeah, man. It did sound excellent. I'm a little biased, but it sounded killer.
Yeah.
No, their show is fucking amazing, dude. The with Jason and Chris, it just they back up Wino perfect. Like it just adds a whole new dynamic to the band.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that album really is good, man. It's good to see Wino still putting out music that's fucking killer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super
For sure.
excited. They did like a live preview of the album where I don't know, everyone got on Bandcamp before its release. It was 4 or 5 days before, and I was super excited to get on there. So I got on with a buddy of mine and we fucking sat here and bullshitted and listened to it. We were both like, oh my God, because you're right, right? With Jason and Chris there, that that fucking sound is like it was great before, but now it's like, wow, just another level, which is fuck. I think as a musician, right? Every time you hope that people say that with every album, like, damn, that album's even better.
Yeah, like that was cool, but this is something new, that's like and I think that's what kind of with having Jason and Chris in the band, it makes like a new kind of obsessed record, because gives Winer some more room to do what he does, because he's
got that a solid foundation behind them, to me. And not only
Yeah.
that, but I think they both contribute to, you know, to like the old material. Their playing contributes to the way those songs sound too. It
Yeah.
just sounds so full to have the whole band like that.
Yeah. That's exactly what I told Jason. I said it just said you guys just add like a fullness to the sound, which is, you know, I think everyone wants, maybe not everyone, but it's really easy to enjoy a really full sound where you're like, God, it just encompasses you and takes you on this journey.
Yeah, totally, man. That's exactly how I felt after they played. We were all just like, "Holy shit, dude, that was amazing!" Like it is every time we've seen them. I mean, we probably seen them like 60 or 70 times now because when we were touring with them, I mean, I watch them every night, and it just never really it doesn't get old. It's an excellent band to watch, man, because it
Yeah.
brings you in like that. You forget you're at the club,
Yeah. I think
stuck in a riff.
that's, for me, that's always been the beauty of music is like you go to see a show and the outside world doesn't matter. Not your religion, your sexual preference, fucking political affiliation, none of that shit. Like you're there in the moment enjoying what's happening on stage, as a community,
It's the universal language, man.
for sure.
Nah, I think that's what's cool about all of this is the music really does kind of it strips away all of what's unimportant, and and kind of just put you in a good place, like you just feel like it's someplace you belong and it's someplace we all belong together kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we do. We all fucking belong together. We're all fucking humans.
Nah, exactly, man. Like all that other stuff, just I mean, to me that's just ways of that's just ways to create divisions. Um, I mean, I could go into some crazy conspiracy shit about how I think that Facebook makes all these groups so that they have everybody easily divided and all this crazy shit, but I'm not. Because really it don't matter if to me if you give that kind of shit your energy, then you just feeding it. So but yeah, I used to get spun out on thinking that we were being divided on purpose, like
Because
made
we
to like
are.
yeah, have nah, it is. It's like
Uh,
this purposeful thing.
mm,
That's what all the social media does. It kind of like the algorithm or whatever it is. It's like they get in and try to like make you like dislike one another or talk shit about each other. You're like that's not what we're all here for, man. You
right.
know? I, I remember like going on there and like thinking about, oh cool, now all my friends are in one place and I could stay in touch with all these people and discover new bands or see cool pictures, and that's what it still is for me. Like I use it to stay connected with the people that I love. So
Yeah.
you make it what it is.
That's it. Well, it's like life, right? Like we could go out there and be negative about all the bad shit that happens, or we could go out there and enjoy what we have, right? Like going to shows or spending time with our family or, making memories with our friends. Like that's
That's what
exactly it.
matters.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what really matters. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I utilize, the socials for I like to find new bands because I'm just that guy. I'm like, okay, someone mentioned this band. Let me dig into them and see what they have. And I found this really cool band out of Belgium called Fire Down Below. And man, it's like I cannot fucking get enough of them right now. Just I'll send you a link to some of their music, like them, and there's a band out of Cincinnati called Blessed Black. Like those two bands they like top my list right now. They're fucking fantastic.
All right, on man.
So
Nah,
go. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember. It just it dissolved.
Okay, done. Um, is there with you guys not being on a timeline, with a label or anything, have you set a timeline as a band to say, hey, we really want to have an album out by this time? Or is that just, we're just letting it happen?
We let that part of it happen. I think the main thing is that when we put our mind to knowing that we it's time for us to write some new material, what we're doing now is the first step of it, you know. And so, like the thought of it being, I mean, of course, you know, we want to complete something this year, but we haven't even gotten to that mentally. Like to us, it's all of just coming up with some good music first, you know, before we start thinking about, you know, what the record's going to be called, or the artwork, or when we want to have it out. Like if it to us, if there's nothing that's substantial, you know, by the end of the year, then it just means that we continue writing next year. And you know, it'll happen, you know, but it'll happen at our pace, and it won't be anything that sucks, you know. Like I think um we're pretty critical of ourselves, you know. So like we'll write and throw away stuff left and right. Um, so so it's hard to say like when it's going to be time to record, you know, because it's so influenced by like regular old life, you know. Like sometimes can't get together to jam as much as you want to, so you know you don't get things done here and there. But in the end, dude, it's to that we have it in our mind to have new music and to do something this year. If the mind after you like after we've made up our mind about it, then everything else follows. You know, we just haven't even had in our mind to start writing until the end of last year, when we started to realize like that it had been 3 years since Nomadic came out, and it's just always more fun for us to have like new songs to jam to, you know, like just kind of adds a fresh perspective to things. But now
That's
is the time, you know, now is when we're this is this is time for it's time for our new record. We keep saying we're gonna do like a fast EP, but um I mean again, that's just kind of an idea that's out there, you know. Sure, it'll probably have some fast parts on it, maybe more than the last, but it's really about us getting together and jamming and seeing what we come up with, because
yeah,
it's not really predetermined, you know. Everything's kind of, a lot of the jams we do are just on the spot, you know. There's nothing really pre-planned about it, you know.
shit, that's cool. That's a good way to like write, to write and come out with a new song, because then it's like you catch the feeling of that moment for the band and go, oh yeah, that's the moment we want to capture. This is that song. Let's do that.
Exactly. And I think the only thing that we've really kind of set as a guideline to, you know, for this new record is to go back to like the ignorantly heavy shit, you know, like In the Name of Suffering, kind of you know, like those really simplistic, you know, fucking bludgeoning fucking riffs that, you know, there's no math behind it.
Right.
You know, it's pretty, it's easy music to play, but it's the melodies, like the catchiness of those simple melodies that make for a great record. And so I think like the last record we always joke is kind of like our prog record, because we went deep on some of those riffs. Like I go back and try to learn some of it, and it's like learning somebody else's. It's like, well, I haven't played it in a long time, so it's like playing like wow, we wrote all this. You know, it's kind of a trip. But this one, we want to go back to something that's you know more of what we're known for initially, like you know the heavy, you know, the heavy riffs, and like the hardcore outburst part, and you know, squelching feedback, all that original primal kind of shit. You know, that's like kind of what's driving us um writing wise for this record, is to do something along those lines.
Hell yeah. Well, that's fucking exciting to hear that part. I'm like, I'm all,
Yeah, I'm excited too.
hell yeah, dude. I feel like Jimmy, when I talked to him, he was pretty excited to be writing some new material and to get that together and get out. So that's it's always nice when the band is like, yeah, we're fucking excited to do this. Like, yeah.
Oh, dude, we're all stoked right now, dude. It's because we took a little break, like we gave ourselves a few months of not focusing on the band for a second, and with that, dude, you realize like, oh man, we got to get back up in the room. Like you start to develop this urgency towards doing it again, and I mean that happens every year, but that fresh feeling that you get like when you first start jamming again at the beginning of the year and everybody's ready to go again and like everybody's like got riffs and everybody's listening to music and like we talk about all the shit that we like and talk about Skinner too because we've been liking them forever kind of thing, but it's an excitement that kind of fuels the writing process for sure, as well as the live aspect of it as well because you start to miss being out there, it's like you just start I miss being on tour and hanging out with all my with all my fucking best friends,
Yeah.
um so yeah, it's gonna be a good year, man. We're fucking we're on fire, man. We're ready to go.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys uh tour the States again. I know we probably got a while before that happens, so I'm gonna wait impatiently as hell.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we got like at this point, I think we got two shows booked in Florida. That's like the only like U.S. stuff we have going right now. Because, like I said, we want to kind of take a break from, just being out there so much. Because it's easy just to keep touring like that.
yeah.
But if you do that, you wear out your audience. So we want to keep it to that delicate balance that we've always had of having people be excited when we show up again. That's kind of something you want to maintain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth. Where in Florida are you guys playing?
We're doing a show at the Handlebar in Pensacola, and then we're playing in Gainesville as well. Um, I can't remember the name of the venue offhand, but I mean that's like our only two domestic shows at this point. Everything else is abroad.
I might have to fly down for that.
Ah, right on.
That'll
Yeah,
be
we might
fun.
tour later in the year, but I mean, as of right now, we ain't running to go do it. Like this
Right.
is this is the time to write. We got the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's it's wise to take the time away from like being on the road so you can like focus on putting the music together and putting together a good piece of work to get out to the masses.
No, definitely, man. Yeah, no, it's. I forgot what I was saying. I do that very often. Sorry,
You're good,
I started
brother.
to say something in mid sentence. I could literally forget entirely. So
I,
there you
I
go, live on film.
I do it with my wife too. I'm like, hey babe. She's like, what? I'm like, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. That must be some human tick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called getting old.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I'm not old.
I feel like it.
What's
So
that?
I said I feel like I am.
Yeah, you gotta. If you think differently, you won't be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I just gotta get back out and ride my bike and shit. That helps me feel a little younger.
No, I ride my bike a lot and I walk around the neighborhood and like spend a lot of time outside. That kind of thing kind of keeps you going as well. That
Yeah,
and the music. All of it together.
for
Well,
sure.
that'll keep you here for a second.
A quick second, but a second.
Hey, yeah, you'll be dead soon.
Yeah. We're all gonna be dead soon. Fuck it.
We're gonna be part of this mass extinction or whatever.
Yeah, what
Cool. It's been fun.
yeah, for sure. We still got a little bit of memories to make.
Oh yeah. We still got at least another. I say like 2050. We get some kind of cataclysm or something, but that's a ways off, man. So while we're here, let's just fucking jam and shit.
Hell yeah. So is there a club or a venue that you like playing more than anywhere else?
Um, not not like any club in particular. Um, but my tendency is towards the smaller clubs. Like some of the big festivals, that's cool, man. It's like some of it blows my mind sometimes to see the size of the audiences we're playing in front of. But really, to me, the real fun is in the little tiny clubs, you know, like I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. There's the Milestone and I can't remember off the top of my head. I can't remember where it's at. But it's like all these little tiny clubs that you could tell it's like they got a scene, like people that go there all the time, and they actually there's you know somebody putting on the show that actually knows who your band is, and it's more personal to me to play at the smaller clubs. You know, we're always treated well. You know, when we play like big festivals or we play, you know, bigger shows like when we toured with War and Napalm and we toured with Clutch and all that. That was cool. You know, it's like and Black Label too. That was like a whole different world that none of us had really experienced tour wise. Um, but there's something that's more familiar to me about playing small clubs. Like that's what we grew up in. That's what I know the most of, and that's where I feel the most comfortable. So no place in particular, but whatever small clubs in your city, I
Uh,
like it.
All right. Those are the shows I like to go to too as well, right? Like they are they're a lot more intimate, right? The band gets done playing and you can have a conversation with them. There's not a barrier between you or security hustling people out or whatever. You just
Nah,
kind of
that's it.
fucking
That's
hang,
fun.
yeah, hanging out, have a good time. Like we're all there to have a good time. We don't need to be at it's 11:30, it's curfew. Fucking get out. Bullshit. Like I'm an adult. Let me hang out a little bit.
Yeah, it's bunk too for the band. Like when you finish playing, and and they're running like the few people that want to talk to you, they're running them off. You know, like that kind of shit is kind of takes away from the experience. You know, so I like those clubs like where we play. You know, everybody's like hanging out still, and you know nobody's in a rush to go anywhere. That they don't have a dance party after or something like that. You know, you just feel like you've lived in the club. You know, by the time you leave, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
no barricades and all that shit. You know, it's just frou.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for those big crazy shows. Like we're still having fun in the little small venues. Um,
Yeah, and to have like people right up in front of you, that's the most fun, man. Like when you're like way up on some stage and like you know your audience is behind a barricade like 3 feet away, that's you could still like you know get the vibe, you know, but it's not the same as like when there's somebody like standing like right in front of you and like you could basically feel them like moving in front of you, you know, as you're playing. Like that's kind of where the magic's at, man, because it becomes like a symbiotic relationship.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Gary, um, we're God, we've been chatting for a long time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you hanging out with me on Saturday. It's I feel like we've had a really, really good conversation.
Now that's cool, man, because I when when I called you, I had just woken up and I was like, oh fuck, I'm missing it again. And so I'm glad that I didn't sound like I was still sleeping when I'm started talking to you. But no,
No,
thank you, man. Thanks for taking the time to you know dig in about the band. We appreciate it.
hell yeah. Well, it's great from a fan's perspective to have these conversations because, like I said, I I just love music, and to be able to dig in and find out like you've got new music coming and this is where the vibe or the mindset is like it it helps get I think me and everyone else excited for whatever's coming, and hopefully we can. Well, hopefully you guys sell a shit ton of albums and play a shit ton of shows and keep going so we can see us some more.
Oh yeah, we ain't nowhere near done, man. we
Hell
still
yeah.
we still got at least 20 years, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, we got 26 years till 2050, so fuck.
oh, well, hey, that's perfect. That gives us a little time to retire
Hell
or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
or 5 years before the cataclysm
Right.
or whatever's happening.
Whatever happens. Yeah, for sure. All right. Gary, thank you again. I greatly
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Tom.
Can't wait to see you on the road. I will I don't know. I'll catch up with you soon. All right.
Indeed. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
Have a good Saturday.
You too, man. See ya.
All right. Later.